Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. We're following a developing story this midday. A former Sioux Falls police officer was just sentenced for sending sexually explicit messages to someone he believed to be a child. Just minutes ago, a federal judge sentenced 29-year-old Luke Schauer to 10 years in prison. It's the minimum sentence for the crime. The maximum sentence for attempting to entice a minor on the internet is life in prison. KELOLAND News has been following the case for nearly a year. Authorities arrested Schauer in February of 2022 after he was caught sending illegal messages to an FBI agent posing as a 12-year-old girl. Last September, he made a plea deal and 2 charges were dropped, including attempted production of child pornography. Schauer lost his job as a police officer as soon as officials learned about the investigation. We'll take a closer look at today's sentencing tonight on KELOLAND News. South Dakota teachers are responding after the Department of Education has released a new version of its proposed social studies standards. The changes come after hundreds of people, including educators, parents, and state employees, shared their opinions at public meetings and online. The latest version of the plan includes the addition of a world geography section for 9th through 12th graders. Tonight, we take a closer look at the changes. Plus, we talk with a former geography teacher from Aberdeen who testified before the board. Another big story we are following today, cleanup is underway yet again in southeastern KELOLAND. In Sioux Falls, the cleanup hasn't stopped since a storm 2 weeks ago dumped a foot on the city. This time around, the southern edge of town saw almost a half a foot of fresh snow, which is, of course, piled up on top of the already massive snowbanks. All morning, people have been busy with snow blowers and shovels, clearing their sidewalks and driveways. The city has also issued a snow alert, which means you'll want to be careful where you park, or you could get ticketed and towed. Turning now to a first look at our midday forecast and when we might see even more snow, let's check in with meteorologist Scott.
Hold on, Dan. Let's just deal with the stuff we have.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
right.
People cleaning up, and for good reason, too. We had a lot of heavy snow in south central and southeastern South Dakota. Let's go ahead and start there with our snowfall amounts. You see, just across the border into Nebraska, they're looking at snowfall amounts in excess of a foot. We have that general area between Chamberlain and Winter at 6 to 7. You know, from Yankton to near Vermilion, 6 to 8. But the actual numbers for Yankton and Vermilion coming in at 10 inches. Sioux Falls, interesting, because we have about 3 inches on the northern side, 5.5 to 6 on the southern side of the city. And you see other reports coming in. Viborg at about 7.5, Parker at 7, Hurley at 7, and Canton close to 7. Now, the farther north you went, of course, those numbers tapered off. Right now, we do have that low-pressure system almost over Chicago. That continues to move to the east and to the northeast. We're dealing with cloudy skies across much of eastern KELOLAND. We do have some snow showers holding from near Spencer, Iowa, toward Worthington and Marshall. Any additional snow we get will stay very, very light. Over the next 12 hours, just keeping the clouds around. Central, eastern South Dakota might be able to filter in a couple of rays of sunshine from time to time, but I don't think our temperatures will change much from what we have right now. We're at 27 in Sioux Falls and Worthington, 24 in Aberdeen, 25 in Pierre, but 32 in Rapid City. And Rapid City, western South Dakota, where we have the sunshine today, the temperatures will be a little warmer, and the winds are still from the north and eastern KELOLAND. They're coming in 15, maybe 25 miles per hour. That will continue for the next couple of hours. Then those winds will quickly die down as we get closer to sunset. Now, with that in mind, and we have the low-level moisture in place and light winds tonight, we could easily have some areas of fog with temperatures falling close to 10. That will be freezing fog, and that will just make those roads a little slicker. Well, we are looking at temperatures tomorrow in the 20s and 30s with mostly cloudy conditions. I'll have more details on your KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. The longest-running professional racquetball tournament in the United States has made its return to Sioux Falls. The Lewis Drug Pro-Am has been a part of the city since 1978, but hasn't been held since 2020 due to COVID. The event will feature professional and amateur players from 20 states and 7 countries and kicks off this afternoon.
As of this morning, we are right on track. We know that all the players are in town so far, so all the pieces are falling into place, and by the time 2 o'clock hits for the first game this afternoon, we should be in great shape.
Qualifying rounds start at 2 o'clock at the YMCA in downtown Sioux Falls. The tournament runs through Sunday with the singles final at 11 a.m., followed by the doubles final at noon. Prosecutors announced that actor Alec Baldwin and a weapons specialist will be charged with involuntary manslaughter in the fatal shooting of a cinematographer who was killed on a New Mexico movie set. Helena Hutchins died shortly after being shot during rehearsals at a ranch on the outskirts of Santa Fe on October 21st of 2021. Baldwin was pointing a pistol at Hutchins when the gun went off, killing her and wounding the director, Joel Sousa. The family of an Illinois man who died after being treated by paramedics is expected to file a wrongful death lawsuit today against the EMS workers and the company they work for, Lifestar Ambulance Services. The same paramedics also face criminal charges. Please note, some of the video you're about to see may be disturbing. Bradley Blackburn has the story from New York.
Two Springfield, Illinois paramedics charged with first-degree murder made their first court appearance one after the other via video link Thursday morning.
We will schedule this for a preliminary hearing tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
The charges against Peggy Finley and Peter Cadigan stem from a call to help Earl Moore Jr.
Sit up! Sit up! Now!
Police officers called for an ambulance on December 18th after they were told the 35-year-old was hallucinating due to alcohol withdrawal.
Earl, sit up!
When Moore didn't respond, paramedic Peggy Finley is seen yelling at him and at one point tried to drag him across the floor.
You're gonna have to walk because we ain't carrying you.
When Moore finally got outside, officers helped Cadigan put him on a stretcher. Cadigan appears to shove Moore back down on his stomach. Moore died less than an hour later after arriving at the hospital. An autopsy says the cause was asphyxia due to prone face-down restraint.
My heart hurt because I ain't gonna never see my son no more. Ever. All because of those two people.
Moore's family spoke to CBS News about what happened.
She didn't even know Earl, but she act like she knew him, calling his name and dragging him like that.
Finley's lawyer told CBS News the murder charges are an overreaching stretch, saying prosecutors are turning what at most might be negligence into a murder. Cadigan's attorney similarly says this was a tort, not a criminal case, and that his client is devastated and called the case highly unusual. If convicted, Finley and Cadigan could face 20 to 60 years in prison. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.